Hi, hello, welcome, how are you? I hope you are doing well. I also hope that I'm not going to be distracting you too much today because I again have my fan on in the background, and I also recently got a walking pad, which is like a slow version of a treadmill that fits under your desk, and I've been quite liking it, so I thought I would try using it while I'm on this video. Hopefully the noise isn't going to be too bad for you. And I thought today that we could take a look at Am I the Asshole, because we haven't done that in a little while. So I'm going to keep being selective because I had a look at like the first two and it was like relationship / wedding, and it's like, why are they always about weddings? So let's see what interesting ones that we can find. Yeah, skip past these first two. Am I the asshole because I don't want to name my son after my father-in-law? That's quite similar to one we've done before. Am I the asshole for taking my new family on vacation to my home country even though my ex and IDS never got to go? What's IDS? Let's see what this one is. Okay, so OP says, my ex was never interested in travelling to the country where I was born. It was dirty and dangerous, and even though the local schools offered Spanish as a second language, she wouldn't enrol in them. We took the kids on fun vacations, Disney, the Grand Canyon, that sort of things, cruises and all-inclusives. We got divorced for a million reasons. After a while, I met my current wife. She had a daughter and now we have a son. We decided to take the kids to meet my extended family this year, so we took a month off and went. We went snorkeling, glamping in the jungle, motorcycled through the desert and ate way too much. We posted all about our trip with a lot of pictures and videos. My kids had a blast. My ex called me when we got back. Our kids were upset that I had taken my new family on this adventure, but I had never taken them. I pointed out that she never wanted to go and that she never let me or my parents teach the kids Spanish. I told her that I had done all this stuff alone before I went home. When the kids came over, I showed them pictures from all the trips I took alone because their mum didn't want to go and wouldn't let me take them. Now she's calling me an asshole for telling her kids the fact that she was the reason they never went. This seems to be naturally very one-sided. In all of these posts, we only know what the OP thinks, right? But just judging from this post, like, definitely not the asshole. I think probably the former wife, if this is true, was the asshole for like essentially keeping the kids' heritage like away from them, you know, like not letting them go to OP's home country, not letting them teach the kids Spanish. That really sucks. Like, definitely not the asshole. Like, I can understand how the kids' feelings would be hurt, especially if like they don't really understand the dynamics and they were never aware of what was going on when they were kids. Like, that sucks. But I don't think that it is OP's fault. However, what might have been nice was to ask again, like, whether they can come along, or to propose that like now they actually go on a trip together, you know, not necessarily with the ex-wife. That could be a little bit awkward, but like to take OP's kids from the first marriage, or the previous marriage at least, on a similar sort of holiday, I think that would be nice. But not the asshole here. Am I like struggling to talk just a little bit while I'm walking? I hope not, because that would make me incredibly unfit. I've had this for like a week now, and I've done 10k every day except yesterday because I was busy. So I should definitely hope that my stamina would be at a reasonable level. Let's see. Am I the asshole? My dad got a tattoo in the style of our matching tattoo with his new family, and now I want to get mine covered. Your body, your choice. So let's skip this one. Am I the asshole for refusing to foot the restaurant bill? Let's see. A few days ago, I, 27-year-old female, visited a restaurant to catch up with some childhood friends. I'm not trying to brag, but I don't know if it's worth mentioning. My friends and I grew up in a small town in England filled with poverty. Most of my friends work full-time but struggle to make ends meet. Some have a family of their own now. I was the only one in the friendship group to go to university, and now I earn a comfortable salary where I won't have to worry financially. Looking back now, this should have been a red flag, but when I got there, my friends ordered loads of stuff, like meals with at least 5 sides each and many drinks. I was a bit flabbergasted as my friends were complaining they didn't have much money to spend, and some of my thoughts were it must have been payday as it was the start of the month. I ordered myself a cheeseburger meal with an extra side of onion rings. Once I finished my dinner, I asked if I could have the bill for my food. When the bill came, I thought they got it wrong as it came to £870, and there were about 8 or 9 of us. That is a lot. I told the waiter there was a mistake as I had calculated my amount, which totaled to £15. My God, what did you eat? Where was this restaurant? That's super cheap. The waiter told me he was told to do it as one whole bill as I would pay in full. I told the waiter that's not happening, and I said I only want to pay for the food I ate, and I told him what I had. The waiter returned to the till and got a new bill printed, which was my total. I paid and went home as I was irritated and pissed. My friends are in a difficult position right now, but if they asked me 2 or 3 days in advance if I could pay the bill for all of them, I would have politely said yes, as they would have asked, but they didn't. The next day, I woke up to some angry texts from our WhatsApp group chat. One of my friends in the group chat PM'd me and explained the situation. He managed to pay for his dinner, but said an argument broke out in the group, and the manager got involved. Most of the bill was borne, but they couldn't afford the rest and had to stay and clean for 2 hours. I didn't think that was a real thing. I thought that was like only in TV and movies. Most of the group are still pissed about the situation and me not paying the bill. I feel like I'm an asshole here because I didn't foot the bill and feel guilty due to the fact I found out they had to do cleaning and they're struggling with money now. Am I the asshole for this? I appreciate your judgment as part of me feels guilty, but at the same time not guilty as they didn't ask me. Look, we have talked about entitlement, people making assumptions. Absolutely not the asshole. Like, it isn't your fault in something to feel bad about that you have a comfortable salary and other people in your lives don't. That doesn't mean that you automatically have to pay for other people's stuff. Like, I would have found that even a bit cheeky if they had asked a couple of days before, yeah, we'll come to dinner, but can you pay for everything? Like, I don't think that's cool, but if they had said, for example, look, I would love to meet up with you, but I'm really struggling for money right now. Do you want to just come over to the house or something like that? And then for OP to say, don't worry about it, it's my treat. Like, that would be fine, but don't just like assume that someone else is going to pay for you and then be pissed at them that they don't. That's ridiculous. Judging from what OP is written, it seems that they paid their own part of the bill and then left without saying anything. I think maybe it would be better to like go to them and say, hey, look, for some reason the waiter thought that I was going to pay the whole bill. I don't know where they got that from. I've paid for my part. I think you'll all have to go up and pay for yours individually as well. So kind of like not paying it and then disappearing. I understand why you would do that because it's like you're pissed the fuck off. Why should you have to justify not paying for like the whole bill and stuff like that? But I think they're pretty shitty friends, to be honest, to like just assume that someone else is going to pay for you. Like, no, that's not cool. OP is not the asshole. What else? Am I the asshole for telling my son he has to wear clothes? Interesting. My son is a 19-year-old male and loves to wear just underwear in his room for whatever reason. He'll throw on a shirt and pants if he has to step out to go to the bathroom, come to the kitchen, talk to anybody, etc. But otherwise he's just in his underwear. I am a 48-year-old male and have told him multiple times that I dislike this and that he has to wear clothes in case his mum or I have to come into his room. He says that if we start knocking, he'll throw something on and then it'll be okay. I told him he still has to wear clothes and then he made another excuse and said it was too hot. In the summer, I tend to set the thermostat to around degrees Fahrenheit that I don't understand to save money. I turn it down to something a bit lower once the sun goes down because then it takes less energy. He says that it makes him sweat, and when he's just sitting around not doing anything, and it says it makes him sweat when he's just sitting around not doing anything, and I rejoin by saying, if it's so hot, go spend a couple of hours outside, see if it still feels hot. That's immature. We live in Oklahoma and it routinely gets up to 100 in the summers. That doesn't mean that he can't still feel hot a few degrees less. That's not a good comeback at all. He rolled his eyes at this and we just kept arguing. I'm wondering now if I'm the asshole, am I? Yeah, kind of, because I think your son is being completely reasonable here. He's in his own room, minding his own business, not with anybody else. If he, for whatever reason, due to heat, sensitivity issues, sensory processing issues, whatever, if he wants to just be wearing his underwear in his own room where he is by himself, that's totally up to him. It would be, yeah, maybe a bit different if he was coming into other areas, of common areas of the house and didn't put any more clothes on, but he does. And when you knock on the door to speak to him, he puts clothes on. So you don't ever have to see him not wearing other clothes apart from his underwear. It doesn't affect you in any way at all. So telling your son what to do with his body when it's not affecting anyone else is just stupid. That's really stupid. Yeah. Next, am I an asshole because I took my stepmother's and stepsister's stuff out of my room and left them on the floor? Let's see. So for some context, OP is a female, and her dad remarried last year to the woman he had been dating for the past 4 years. She has 3 kids who are all girls, and they all moved in 6 or 8 months before the wedding. The house is big enough for all of us though. 2 of our kids have to share a room. Neither my mum nor their father are in the picture, so we all live here full time, and I'm the oldest of the 4. Now, a few months ago, my dad began some remodelling in the house to accommodate them better, so he and the kids had to sleep in other places of the house for a few weeks, and their stuff had to be put away. I let them store some of their clothes and their belongings in my closet with the understanding that they had to get their stuff out as soon as the rooms were fixed. I have a pretty big closet, and I don't really own that many clothes, shoes or accessories to fill it, so beside what's already there and some books, I have lots of space. Pretty soon, I realised I made a mistake because they never knocked or asked to be let in my room to get their stuff, and they only barged in whenever they wanted, but I sucked it up because I offered. Also, besides some small modifications to my room, it was pretty left untouched, and so I didn't have to sleep around the house like them. Now here's the issue. The rooms are all fixed and done, and they all got back to sleep and have their stuff there. Problem is, my stepmom and one of my stepsisters took this opportunity to buy more stuff, and we're pretty much left with cramped closets. They still have a bunch of stuff here in my room, and they still barge in whenever they want, and I'm done. I've asked multiple times, and my dad has also asked them to take their stuff out, but they always complain they don't have space, and I do. So it hurts no one. I had enough when yesterday my stepmom barged in and I was changing. She said it was no big deal, but I felt so embarrassed that when she left my room, I just took the shit out and tossed it in the hallway. Both my stepsister and her mum think I'm a selfish asshole, and my dad grounded me for what I did, but ultimately made them take their stuff. Am I the asshole? No, I don't think so. I mean, it's your personal space, right? I think this whole thing of it hurts no one is kind of bullshit. It's like saying, I mean, it's kind of like the previous one, like, oh well, you've got money, so you can afford to spend that on us. You've got space, so you can afford just to give us your space. You know what I mean? This was clearly supposed to be a temporary thing, and it would be different if they actually bothered to knock before they came in, but they don't. So it's a violation of privacy. It's invalidating OP's feelings of embarrassment at having someone walk in on them changing. That's not cool. It's really disrespectful to not respect. Well, disrespectful to not respect, but do you know what I mean? Like, it's not cool to disrespect somebody's personal space and their privacy like that. So no, I don't think OP's an asshole, especially if they asked multiple times, and I don't think that they should have been grounded. Like, that's not cool. I mean, what other move was there? What else could they do, you know? So, not the asshole here, my dear. Am I the asshole? My husband treats my kids horribly compared to his own. Why would you be the asshole in that situation then? Some context here, we're both 44. When we met, he was a single father who had sole custody of 2 kids. The mother hadn't been in the picture in years, big-time drug user and lost all her kids. I was a single mother with 3 kids. One of the things, there were many things, but this really got me as my kids are the most important thing in my life, that I found appealing was that he was legally raising and loving another man's child as his own. The first few years together were great. Some minor disagreements with parenting, like him calling my 3 and 4-year-olds sissies because they needed a nightlight to sleep. That's toxic. Blending families always has learning curves, I thought. Best to discuss with him and we can iron out a mutual parenting plan. It seemed to work for a few years. We had all been living as one family for about 5 years. He proposed, and 3 months after our wedding, things started to change. Little things at first. Comments that weren't mean, just mostly sarcastic. Then it turned into yelling if a chore wasn't done to his exact standards. Each kid had 1 chore a day. I was not okay with this yelling and bickering that occurred daily. Once again, we talked, but he wasn't receptive and got very defensive. You let the kids get away with everything and they have no consequences. I'm a firm believer in not double punishing kids. So if a chore wasn't done correctly, I would tell them to remember next time and that this is also part of your chore. For example, if one was taking the trash out but didn't put a new trash bag in the trash can, it's not defiance, it's a typical kid's forgetfulness. To clarify, all 5 of the kids had this issue. He started harping on the kids more, and his kids point blank refused to do their chore. This went on for 2 weeks, and he didn't say anything. So I brought it up, and his response blew me away. He said, your kids can do my kids' chores for a while, seeing as how yours don't know how to do chores correctly and my kids need a break. That's ridiculous. After that, he was yelling at my 3 for everything, and he said it's my kids' fault that his don't do their chores. We both worked 40 hours a week. I handled the bulk of the household chores, and with the kids having small tasks like trash, putting the dishes away, folding clothes, sweeping, feeding the dogs, blah, blah, blah. How long does this go on for? Okay, it's almost done. To clarify, after my kids. Tired of only me and my kids cleaning up the house we all lived in, I decided to give those that did their chores a reward of extra screen time. His kids, still not doing chores, complained about not getting the extra screen time. He bought his kids each a tablet after denying my kid a tablet for her 12th birthday. I put parenting software on the tablets and only allowed them time if their chores were done. He said I was an asshole and I had no right to stop them using what he bought them. Is he right and I'm the asshole? No, bitch, he's the asshole. Like, he's clearly, just from what you said, he's clearly treating the kids differently. Double standard here. I mean, there's really no excuse for that, like blaming everything on OP's kids and like saying that they don't do enough and his kids need a break. Like, that's not how it works. This is quite straightforward. Like, there's not really much to say there. Like, he's clearly treating the kids differently, and I would say that actually it was a good idea what OP did to, instead of like having punishments, to have rewards of extra screen time for, you know, doing the chores properly. I think that was a good idea. It's more positive than it is negative. And basically, him and his kids just want a way to circumvent that and get whatever they want regardless. So yeah, not the asshole here. Ooh, am I the asshole for telling my roommate it's his fault he doesn't get laid? Ooh. This one seems like I might not like it, but for some reason I'm intrigued anyway. So let's see what it is. OP says, I'm a 24-year-old male and have been living with my roommate Simon, who's a 29-year-old male, for about a year. I'm not in a relationship, but I occasionally bring one-night stands into our flat, which Simon explicitly told me he was okay with when we moved in together. That being said, I try not to bother him with the excessive noises, and any sexual activity is limited to my bedroom only. But I don't make a secret of having someone over. For example, I offer breakfast the next morning, and sometimes Simon is already awake by the time that the person leaves. Just recently, Simon has started becoming increasingly hostile towards me whenever I have someone over. He's incredibly rude and condescending to any person I hook up with, and has barged into my room in the morning, demanding I help him with something, causing my one-night stand to leave in a hurry. When I asked whether something was bothering him, he told me that he was fed up with guys like me stealing girls from guys like him. Oh my god. I asked what he meant by that, and he said that it's always players who get all the girls and he is left with nothing. Women are not fucking snacks or sweets. Like, you don't fucking dish them out between people. Oh my god, he's disgusting. He tends to stay home on the weekends, and whenever he meets up with someone, it's usually to play video games with one of his friends, so I think it's fair to say he isn't really trying to meet new people. I offered that he could come with me the next time I go if he wanted to get in contact with someone, but he turned down the idea because nice, shy guys like him don't have a chance with girls anyway. Yeah, I don't like this. I then asked how exactly he expects to meet someone if he never goes out. He works remotely and never really leaves their flat apart from shopping, and as far as I know, doesn't do online dating. He got defensive and told me that he didn't want one of the sluts I was picking up at the club anyway, even though you're complaining that he's stealing them all from you, apparently. and that he wanted a girl who preferred staying at home so he wouldn't find one in a bar either way. So what are you going to do? Just go to random people's houses and say, hi, do you want to hook up? Like, oh my God. I told him that he should stop blaming other people for his inability to find a date when he's not giving anyone the opportunity to even meet him, and that he can't expect women to randomly find him and ask him out when there's no way for anyone to know he even exists. I agree. He called me an asshole because it's easy for me to make assumptions, and that it's always fuckboys who pretend dating is so easy when they're the ones preventing the good guys from having a chance with girls. Is OP the asshole? No, you're not the asshole. The title actually sounded more harsh than it is, but you're absolutely right. Like, oh, this bothers me so much. Like, people who are like, oh, I'm so nice, I'm a good guy, and anyone who has something that I want and don't have is like an asshole or whatever. Like, OP's completely right. Like, if you want to meet someone, you have to make an effort to meet someone. You can't just stay at home the whole time and not talk to anybody new and then be like, oh, why do I never meet anyone? And then blame the people who do put themselves out there and manage to meet people. Like I say, we're not fucking candy or sweets or snacks to just hand out. Like, you don't get to be with someone just because you exist. Like, we're not all just waiting here to find you, you know? Like, OP's not the asshole. The roommate is an asshole. Like, not necessarily just in this situation, but like in life, you know? His whole attitude towards women in dating is just disgusting. But probably not uncommon, let's be honest. Am I the asshole for telling my co-worker to stop stealing my snacks? They're your snacks, bitch. No, it's fine. Am I the asshole for not taking my sister's side after our brother and his wife announced that they were having a baby? Taking your side? In what way? Let's see. Oh, it's been removed. Okay, fine. Fine. Am I the asshole for tricking my sister-in-law and ruining her skin? This person has already been deemed not the asshole, but I'm interested to see what the situation is anyway. So I don't even know why I'm posting this. I think it's ridiculous, but my sister-in-law, mother-in-law, and my own mother think I'm the asshole. So I am a 17-year-old male, and my sister-in-law is a 29-year-old female, and the family are hosting a family gathering. They are big on family, and they have room to invite literally everyone, which includes my parents, my older sister, and me, since we're technically family. Now, I'm big on skincare. I had horrible skin when I was 13, and it started as a way to fix it. But even after my skin got better, I just like it. It keeps my skin looking good, and I find it relaxing. Good for you. I packed my essentials for the 2 weeks we would be there. I'll admit, it was still quite a lot, but it wasn't insane. Now, the room I was staying in, I was sharing with one of sister-in-law's nieces near my age. The bedroom has an ensuite bathroom. I put my things on a shelf. I made sure with the niece that I wasn't taking up too much room. Sister-in-law came in to check on us and saw all my things. She asked about some things I had since they were expensive brands. She's made it a big point that she and her family have a lot more money than my family over the years. I told her I saved and got them myself because I have a job. She asked to use them, and I said no because they were expensive and I want them to last as long as possible. She seemed annoyed but just left. Over the next few days, my sister-in-law was complaining that her skin was dry and itchy. I didn't think anything of it. Halfway through the stay, she came storming down the stairs and threw a small spray bottle at me, asking me why the fuck I did this to her. I was confused and asked what she meant. Turns out she's been going into the bathroom I share with her niece and using my skincare, but she's been using what she thought was a spray bottle of water at the end, but she's actually been using a bottle of salt water, which I have because I have 4 pretty fresh ear piercings. At first, I asked why the fuck she's using my stuff, and she says it's her family's house so she can use it. That does not follow. That absolutely does not make sense. Don't be so stupid. I tell her no, it's my stuff, and I said no. She just reiterated her first point and then asked me why I tricked her like this. I explained that it's salt water for my ears, but she just called me a liar, asking why I would have it in the bathroom shelf next to the rest of my skincare stuff. She then went on about how I purposefully ruined her skin. This is bullshit. This is so fucking stupid. I again tried explaining myself. Sister-in-law then turns to my mother and her mother and said she had asked about my skincare and I had explained everything and said the bottle was water, which was total BS. She only asked about my expensive ones. Why would you want to be spraying a bottle of water on your face anyway? Her niece backed me up, but sister-in-law called niece a liar. Mother-in-law was pissed and said I'm horrible and just jealous of sister-in-law, and my mother said she's disappointed and embarrassed at me. Bitch. This then caused she and my dad to argue, and now I feel like shit. Sister-in-law's family and my mother are ignoring me or being passive-aggressive, and they even threw out my salt water and won't let me make a new batch and have stopped me when I try. This is stupid. This is fucking stupid. OP is trying to clean their ears because they recently got piercings and they're not allowed to do that. That's ridiculous. I don't know what to do. Am I the asshole? Edit. I had to remove this because of character limit, but I think I've confused some people. This isn't my dad's family. This is my brother's wife. Also, while salt water is normally okay for your skin, daily exposure isn't. Plus, it might not even be the salt water. Blah, blah, blah. No, you're not the asshole. That's ridiculous. That would be like if you're staying over at someone's house and you had previously bought like a cookie and the cookie had walnuts in it, and sister-in-law comes in, she's allergic to walnuts, and she asks if she can have some of the cookie, and you say, no, this is my cookie, I've been really looking forward to it, I want to enjoy my cookie. And then you leave it in the kitchen, and then she goes in and eats it anyway, and then says that you've tricked her because it's a walnut cookie. You told her that she couldn't eat it, then she ate it anyway, and that's your fault. Like, this is stupid, not the asshole. Oh my god. These ones are kind of weird today, I feel like. Like, they're all a bit much of a nothing. Let's try and find one more interesting one. Am I the asshole for making my son live with me so he won't be around his dad or stepmom? Not sure about that one. Am I the asshole for telling my son's pregnant girlfriend to get a job once she has the baby or move out? Don't want to do all these baby ones. Am I the asshole for not going to the restaurant when my mum was waiting for me? Possibly. A few days ago, my mum came to our city. She lives in another city. She asked me to meet her in a restaurant for dinner. I found out that she's planning to bring her son as well. He is 2 and hyperactive, and I know if she brought him, she would be either feeding him or trying to get him to sit still or changing his diaper. Basically, I was sure it would be all about him, so I informed her that if she brings him, I'm not coming. She told me not to act childish and she doesn't know anyone here and can't leave him alone, but I had told her then I'm not interested in seeing her. She told me just to come and she'll be waiting for me and ended the call. That's really forcing someone's hand. Well, I didn't go, just like I said I wouldn't. She called me crying and asking why I would do this and that she just had a little bit of time in her city and wanted to see me. I told her that I didn't want to see her and she called me an asshole. Nah, I don't think you're the asshole in this situation. What I thought it was going to be initially is that OP had just decided not to come and not say anything, but that doesn't seem to be what's happened here. Like, OP said, like, I'm not coming, and the mum was just like, well, I think you should come, I'm gonna wait for you anyway, goodbye. Like, that's the mother's fault. And then, like, crying on the phone just because OP did what they said they were gonna do. Nah, this is ridiculous. What are people doing? What are people doing? That one wasn't that interesting, was it? Am I the asshole for asking a stranger to tone down our conversation in front of my kid? Okay, let's look at this. So for context, we live in the southeastern US. Today my son, who's 8 years old, asked to go to Waffle House for lunch to celebrate an achievement. We, my husband, son and I, sat in a booth adjacent to 3 late 20s, early 30s women who had just sat down before us, with my back to their booth and my son and husband across from me. Right, so she's back to back with these other people, but the husband and son can see over to them. We ordered and are enjoying our food, and they are having an energetic conversation behind us. Not crazy loud, but loud enough for the three of us to hear them, and for me to cringe every time the woman facing our table dropped the F-bomb. After a while, I became uncomfortable with my kiddo hearing this conversation. I turned around in my seat and quietly asked him to please stop saying fuck in front of my son. The woman facing our table leaned forward and asked me to repeat myself. I did. She then responds that we are in a public place and that she has kids too. Then, as this was happening, the waitress serving both our tables came back to check on them, and she complained to the waitress that I was being rude. I turned back to my table, requested to go boxes? Requested to get boxes maybe from the waitress, and didn't say anything further to the party behind me. I could certainly hear them talking about how offended they were and commenting that next time we should go to IHOP. I guess because it's more family friendly? I don't know. I was flabbergasted. I was expecting them to laugh it off, not get prickly that I had the audacity to make such a request. Am I the asshole? Honestly, I don't think so. Like, I swear a lot, okay? We all know this. And when I'm like in a public place and there's like, if there's kids at our table, then I'll usually try not to swear, but in any situation I can think of, the parents have been like, oh, it's fine, don't worry about it. So like, you know, they're not fussed. If I had been having a meal with the parents and they were like, please can you not, then of course I would try not to. If it's not even people that you're with, if it's other people in the restaurant, to be honest, yeah, I'm there, it's a public place. It's not like a fucking kindergarten or like a creche or something like that, so I do what I want. But if someone had quietly said to me, can you please not do that? Then I would be like, oh, okay, fair enough, you've asked me nicely. But if they were like, you should stop using that language, there are children here, blah, 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 then I would be like, fuck you. You know, so it's like the way you ask. So I don't think OP was being an asshole here. I think it's fine. Okay, how was that? I hope the noise from the fan and my walking pad wasn't too bad. As I say, I feel like these ones were a bit weird today. Usually Am I the Asshole is like a pretty good source of content for this channel, but I don't know, they were just a bit like much of a nothing, you know? Maybe it was even because I avoided the ones about weddings and kids. Maybe those just happened to be the most like, oh, I don't know. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this episode regardless. You can check out my other videos if you would like to, and I will see you next time. Bye bye, bye bye, bye bye, bye.